Hello everyone, dear viewers and listeners of IDR Radio and TV, this global think tank. This is Alhiyarkengerló and welcome to the Iran on the Hotline of Revolution. Today is Tuesday, November 15, 2022, equal to 24th Aban of 2581 and 61st day or second month of protest and a strike by the heroic people of Iran against the occupying regime in Iran. According to the Guardian, Iran has issued its first death sentence over the protests that have shaken the country's clerical leadership. As a rights group warned under the other issues. But about the other convicts could be hastily executed. They are rushing to capture and without anything execute them quickly. Almost 2 months of demonstration triggered by the death of Mahsa Amini have prompted authorities to unleash a crackdown that has led to the detention of thousands of people. Some have been charged with offenses that could incur the death penalty in the country that Amnesty International says is second only to China worldwide in the number of the people it executed every year. The unnamed accused was sentenced to death in Tehran court for the crime of setting fire to the government's building, disturbing public order, assembly, and conspiracy to commit a crime against national security. Very interesting. Those titles, they are so matched with them, not the people. As well as for being an enemy of God. It's very funny. Who can indicate that who is the enemy of God and who is the friend of God? Which one of the issues that they are under that title will kill and execute is an enemy of God and corruption on earth. On earth, even it goes further than the border of Iran, which the judiciary website Mizan Online reported on Sunday. Another court in Tehran sentenced 5 others to prison term of between 5 to 10 years for gathering and conspiring to commit crimes against national security. Now they're talking about the national, which based on their ideology, there is no nation of Iran. Against the national security and disturbing public order, Mizan says. This month, 272 of Iran's 290 lawmakers demands that the judiciary apply death penalty in an eye for an eye, retributive justice against those who have harmed people's lives and property with bladed weapon and firearm. That's very interesting. While it is completely the opposite, and the people of Iran do not have weapons, and while protesting peacefully, they are killed by the government in the most brutal way. Mahmoud Amiri Muqaddam, the director of the Norway-based NGO Iran Human Rights, says at least 20 people were facing charges punished with the death, according to official information. We are very concerned that the these death sentences may be carried out hastily, he said. The international community must send a strong warning to the Iranian authorities that implementation of death sentence for protesters is not acceptable and will have heavy consequences. On Sunday, Mizan and other local media also says the judiciary had charged more than 750 people in 3 provinces for their involvement in recent revolution. More than 2,000 people have been charged, almost half of them in Tehran, since the demonstration began, judiciary figures shows. The crackdown has also led to the arrest of dozens of activists, journalists, and lawyers who continued detention has caused an outcry abroad. On Sunday, Iranian authorities transferred to hospital the prominent dissident Hossein Ronaghi, who was arrested in September and had been on hunger and also hunger strike for more than 50 days. More than 50 days on a hunger strike, which his brother mentioned about this issue. Ronaghi was taken to Evin prison after his arrest on 24th of September. His family fear he could die because of a kidney condition and says his legs have been broken in prison. The day before, his brother says he had been moved to the Day General Hospital, day not as a day, as a month of Iran, in Tehran. Hossein was taken to one of the department of the day hospital. Hassan Rouhani wrote on Sunday saying his parents had been prevented from seeing their own son. His life is in danger. According to the NGO Iran Human Rights, at least 326 people have been killed by the security forces as a result of the nationwide protest. Of course, this number that I mentioned is based on the standard news agency, but the reality, which the people from the street, they are in touch with us through our own people. This is the formula. Whatever they say, you multiply it by 4, maybe by 5. It is not 326. It's way more than that. This figure includes at least 123 people killed in province of Sistan, Baluchistan, on Iran's southeastern border with Pakistan. Most of those were killed on 30th September when security forces opened fire on protesters after Friday parade in Zahedan, the capital of Sistan, Baluchistan. A massacre activists have been called Bloody Friday. Those protesters were triggered by alleged rape in custody of 15-year-old girl by the police commander in a port of the city of Chahbahar. The city's police chief and the head of the police nation have been dismissed. Local officials announced previously about this issue, but no action was taken against the rapist, while the killings of the Islamic Republic of Iran are not only limited to country, but they always start the fires in the region. Within yesterday, at least 2 people were killed, which must be a lot more, and 10 were wounded in Monday. Where rockets and drones hit the headquarters of Iranian Kurdish parties in the autonomous Kurdish region of neighboring Iraq. Local officials and security sources have been mentioning these issues. Iran's semi-official Fars news said the country's Revolutionary Guard had attacked the bases of terrorist group. It's very interesting. In the Kurdish region of Iraq with missiles and drones. And there is no need to say the Fars news agency is affiliated with the Iran's Revolutionary Guard and is very notorious and corrupt. Local officials and security sources says the attacks had struck targets near Erbil and Soleimania. The hospital officials in the Iraqi Kurdish city of the Khoi told Reuters that 2 or more people were killed and at least 10 people has been wounded in strikes. The Revolutionary Guards have attacked Iranian Kurdish opposition bases in Iraq's Kurdish region since the death of Kurdish woman Mahsa Amini on September 16 triggered nationwide unrest, which is now a full revolution, Reuters reported. On the other hand, grassroots groups have called for the protest across the country for November 15, 16, and 17, while most of the action on Sunday was taking place at numerous campuses with the students staying sit-ins and canceling classes in a solidarity with the revolt against the Islamic Republic regime. The students chanted slogan and sang along a song in a protest to the detention and expulsion of their classmate, as well as against the bloody crackdown on the popular protest. Moreover, a group of more than 70 faculty members and professors of Babel Nushirvan University of Technology in northern Iran issued a letter on Sunday demanding an end to the entry bans and suspension of students, as well as ensuring their security in the university and dormitories as well. In addition to university students, many school children held rallies as they leave their school children, chanting a slogan against the regime and its rulers. In a joint call by the youth of Tabriz, Zanjan, Isfahan, Mashhad, Ahvaz, Gurgan, and Babol have urged people to pour into the street on the anniversary of this killed in November 2019 on Tuesday. We will start from high schools, university, and markets and continue with neighboring centered gatherers to move to main square of cities. Read part of the statement. A series of nationwide protests in Iran, sometimes known as Bloody November, took place in 2019 initially triggered by 50 to 200% increase in fuel price, but the demonstration quickly turned into the calls for the overthrow of the government and Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. According to the report by the rights group, and at least 3,000 protesters were killed, which this is cutting the numbers by half, which was 6,000 or more. Killed by the Islamic Republic security forces from November 15 to 17, and nearly 20,000 arrested, Reuters, and at the time reported 1,500 deaths. I don't know what kind of deal is going on between the other news agency and government of Iran. God knows, but money can do a lot. Since the current uprising began against Iran's clerical regime almost 2 months ago, following the death of Mahsa Amini in police custody, numerous calls have been issued by groups, institutions, guilds, and associations for demonstrations, gatherings, and strikes. Also on Sunday, Iran's judiciary charged more than 750 people in 3 provinces for participating in a revolution. More than 2,000 people had already been charged, nearly half of them in the capital of Tehran, since the demonstration began in mid-September. They face accusations including incitement of murder, harming security, pay attention to the titles, incitement of murder, harming security forces, propaganda against the regime, and damaging public property, the Judiciary Mizan online news website reported. After the threat by the hardliner lawmakers earlier in the month asking that protesters be sentenced to death, the judiciary signaled its intention to do just that on November 8th. So far, at least 326 protesters, including 43 minors, have been killed and tens of thousands arrested, although the government has not issued any figures. On Saturday, diaspora Iranians in Europe, North America, and elsewhere held rallies to condemn the Islamic Republic for brutally against anti-government protesters. Coupled with the activism of Iranian diaspora and the calls with rallies to mark the anniversary of the Bloody November, the UN Human Rights Council is set to hold a special session the following week over the Islamic Republic heavy-handed clampdown. In the phone conversation with the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres Tuesday night, Iran's Foreign Minister Hossein Amir-Abdollahi warned of the negative consequences. That's very interesting. Foreign Minister calling the UN Secretary General and warning them how the negative consequences of the UNHRC's meeting. It's very interesting. Okay, here we come to the end of this program. Thank you for your company and sharing these ideas as much as it's possible to help us on the path of the wisdom and freedom. For the woman, life, freedom. Long live Iran.